لا إله إلا الله.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Thank you for joining me in this video number 11, where I'll be looking at diet and lifestyle, especially under these circumstances of COVID-19 and the lockdowns and all the stresses. People are losing their jobs. Everything has become difficult, and I know, lots of people are having mental health issues, as well as, experiencing the loss of their close ones. So may Allah help all those who are experiencing difficulties and who have lost loved ones. May Allah give them a high place in paradise, inshallah, and accept them as martyrs. Brothers and sisters, what I want to remind you and myself is today is about the diet and lifestyle we should all be following for a good lifestyle. Now, if we look at the Quran, there are many verses in the Quran which talk about eating and excess and so on. But one example is Quran, Surah 7, verse 31, where Allah says, "Children of Adam, take your adornments to every masjid and eat and drink, and do not be excessive." He doesn't like those who are excessive. Now, excessive in food can mean one of two things: either you're eating too much or spending too much on the food. The Prophet ﷺ gave us lots of indications. One is he used to fast regularly. Every week he would fast 2 days with a few days in between. So he used to fast Mondays and Thursdays. And only nowadays the doctors have begun to understand that fasting like the Prophet used to do is both healthy and it boosts your immune system. And they call it intermittent fasting these days. So you can just look up intermittent fasting and you'll find lots of people are advocating intermittent fasting as a way to boost your immune system. The Prophet ﷺ also said that no container that a human being fills that causes him more harm than his stomach, i.e., if you fill your stomach, it can only harm you. So you need to leave it, not so full. And the recommendation was, you fill a third of the stomach with food, a third with water, and you leave a third empty for air, for breathing. So I don't keep eating until you can no longer breathe. That's really bad for you. Or until you feel full. That's no good. Don't eat until you feel full. Just stop. Just have a certain amount you're going to eat it, and that's it. So, there's another hadith which says it's extravagant to eat what you want. I.e., whenever you see something you fancy, you eat. That's extravagance. Don't do that. Another hadith says the Prophet hardly ate meat, meaning red meat. So he hardly ate red meat. So the advice for us is to eat red meat very infrequently, maybe once a week or less, maybe once a month. Also, the Prophet in another hadith says eating meat is like drinking wine, becomes addictive. So lots of people have become addicted to eating just lots of meat. Every meal has to be red meat, has to be a burger, has to be some sort of meat, has to be minced meat, has to be chops, whatever. So reduce red meat once a week maximum, I would say. Have fish or chicken instead. Now, the overall perspective for a diet, for a good Muslim diet, would be to eat less red meat, more fish and chicken, eat more vegetables, mainly green vegetables, but mix some other vegetables like red and yellow and whatever, because they have other minerals and vitamins. Have fruits every day. Have fruits again. Have different fruits every day, like 3 or 4 types of fruits a day. Eat small amounts of carbohydrates. So this is one of the most important things we can do to our body, is not to have so much carbohydrates, i.e. eat less bread, pasta, rice, couscous, biscuits and cakes. Eat as little as you can, i.e. in a whole day have the equivalent of no more than 2 slices of bread, or the equivalent of pasta. So, because what carbohydrates do is they cause a spike in the glucose in your body and keep your glucose levels high, continuously high for a long time. That's what leads to diabetes. Eat more pulses, like beans, chickpeas and lentils. Those are good for you because your body digests them slowly. You feel full for longer, and you don't get the same sugar spike you get with refined sugar. Get enough sleep. So most people need somewhere between 7 and 8 hours of sleep. So get enough sleep for your body, and try to sleep when the night is dark, i.e. between Isha and dawn. Don't go to sleep in the early morning of the hours or sleep during the day. That's so bad for your body. Do light exercise. Aim to do at least 40 minutes a day after, say, lunch or after dinner. Go out for a walk. Walk for at least 40 minutes or more, as much as you can. Very good for your health. Avoid sugary drinks like Coke, Pepsi, energy drinks. They're full of sugar. All they do is they spike up your glucose in your body, and if you drink them regularly, especially if you're above 40, but it really applies to everyone, I would say, cut out sugary drinks, whether they call them energy drinks, they're full of sugar, or Cokes, whatever. Go for the no sugar or reduced sugar drinks. Ideally just drink water, I would say. When it comes to diet and lifestyle, I would say there are 3 main enemies we have. One, as I mentioned, is sugar. The other one is salt. The other one is fat. For sugar, try to, when you buy food, look at the back and make sure that the portion has less than 2 grams per portion. And if you can, cut out sugar and use substitutes if you have to. For instance, in porridge for breakfast, you can have some raisins, a few raisins, to sweeten it up a bit. For tea and other drinks and coffee and so on, you can use sugar substitutes, but try to use ones which are fruit based, not chemically made. So that's sugar. Reduce sugar. Salt, try not to, salt causes high blood pressure and eventually heart attacks and death. So also look for, when you're buying foods, look at the back and make sure it's low in salt. When you're cooking, try to use as little salt as possible, because salt causes high blood pressure and heart attacks. Fats, when it comes to frying stuff, chicken or chips, try not to fry them in deep fry. Either use baked, bake them in the oven, or steam bake, or there's some new pans which can bake with a small amount of oil, so like hardly any oil, but still you get your chips and your chicken baked. So use those instead to reduce the amount of fat. So ideally, if you reduce the sugar and salt and fat and so on, and have lots of vegetables and fruits instead, you will automatically reduce your weight and you'll get closer to your ideal weight. By doing that, you will not only be leading a good lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle, you'll also be reducing the pain on joints, because when you are overweight, you are causing your joints to start to rub together, and you are heading for sort of all joint issues. So another dimension to a good lifestyle is the mind and the stress. So in terms of stress, Stress, high levels of stress, continuous high levels of stress are bad for you because they spike your sugar in your blood, and they cause and they lead to high blood pressure. So stress, high levels of stress, because sometimes you do need high stress, if you're but only for a short time. You don't need it if it's continuously high stress. If you're continuously worried about losing your job, or not getting a job, or you may lose something, or you may not get something, that's the kind of stress which is bad for you. How do you overcome that? Well, get close to Allah, read the Quran more, ponder on Allah's creation, pray your daily prayers, pray your Sunnah prayers, learn the Quran, try to understand the Quran, look at, read the translations and the explanations and so on. Try to understand what you're reading, and do what the Quran says to do, and don't do what the Quran says don't do. Above all, don't dwell over your failures. What you failed in something, fine, learn from it and keep going. You didn't get a job because Allah ordained that you were not going to get it. It's not because if you've done your best and you didn't get it, then that's it, stop there, prepare for the next one. Try not to stress yourself out. If you've lost your job, say Alhamdulillah, that was destined for you, and whatever Allah has destined for you, it's good for you. Allah does not give us anything which is not good for us. And the minimum is, it's a test to see whether your faith in Him, in Allah, stays, even with the losses, even with the pain, because that's what you're here for. We are all here to be tested, to see how we react when we are in a bad situation. Not when we are in a good situation, but we tend to forget Him when we are in a good situation and blame Him when we are in a bad situation. They're both bad. They're both bad for us. So, choose friends carefully who will help you get closer to Allah. Don't stay with friends who help you just waste your life away, waste your time, look for pleasures, look for haram stuff. Stay away from those friends. Don't waste your time playing games, watching film after film after film. Watch some documentaries is fine and some news, but use your time wisely. Learn new skills. Learn the Quran. Learn, prepare for the afterlife. All these things will help you to de-stress, and you'll have a peaceful mind. Always prepare for the afterlife, because the more you prepare, the more you are ready for the afterlife, the more you are at peace and at ease in this life. And stay away from haram stuff. Anything that the Quran says don't do, stay away from. Anything the Quran says do. Do good. Do good to yourself, to your body, to your mind, to your family, to your society, to animals, to the planets. We're here to be good agents for everything good, because Allah keeps stressing that in the Quran. You have to believe in Him, but also do good. But good is, there is an infinite number of things we can do to do good. Praying and fasting and all that, those are just some aspects of good. But being good to others, being kind to others, helping others, not upsetting others, not harming others knowingly or even unknowingly, if we can help that as well. So, brothers and sisters, choose your diets carefully. Get you enough sleep. Get enough sleep. Get enough exercise, even just walking. Avoid sugars. Reduce sugars. Avoid salt or reduce salt. Reduce fat. Reduce your weight if you can. If you do those things, you will reduce your weight anyway. And keep your mind and spirits clean, healthy, by being close to Allah and the Quran. And pray to Allah. I pray that Allah helps us all stay on the path to Him, on the path to salvation, on the path to success. And I hope that we all shall meet Allah as believers who have done enough good in this life to merit a place in paradise, inshallah. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for joining me in this video 11.